Just because you play fighting games doesn't mean you're good at like giving out advice. Some people don't even know why they win. You know that's a fact, right? Fighting games nowadays, bro, you can just win and like you may not have an idea of like why you're winning. Yo, what is good, everybody? We are back, and you already know I'm about to tell you guys right now. Support your boy, all right? Support him. All right, so today's video, we're going to talk about how to give advice, all right? So look, a lot of people have a hard time giving advice. Some people have a hard time asking the advice. So we're going to talk about how to actually utilize giving out good advice and asking good advice. So before we jump into the video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and let me know how you guys feel about this video. And if you guys want to do more videos of this, let me know in the comment section below. Buffs in. Who do I recommend starting with if you're a new player? For what game? You see, that's another thing about advice right there. That is a very good question, but the question doesn't have any merit to it, so I can't really help you fully because I don't know what game we're talking about. If I play one game, I felt like I could have been an easier question to answer, but I don't play one game. I play a lot of games. Because I could say, I think Jin is a good character to start with. Kai versus Axel matchup tips. That's also another question that I feel there's no like the way you word it is very hard to help you. Because you said all enders feel unsafe for some time. That makes the assumption that you try all the enders, because actually there is one ender that is actually pretty good to use versus Axel, but the problem is you used all of the enders. So I'm just gonna say, well, he has one ender, and that's Stun Edge. Stun Edge is your best ender. But anyway, for example, so I got told this advice today. Somebody said, yo, Kizzie, I don't know if you know, but I found a punish for Rems doing delayed Rekka. Basically, you can match 5P Stun Dipper if she delays her Rekka. It forces her to commit to Rekka 2, and then if you block, you can DP her. 5P RTL also works if you got meter. So the problem is, in this video, the Rekka 1 punish is a combo. This is like advice that can be like very wrong, for example. So in response, I was like, that's not a real combo punish, you know? Like, I was like, it's not a real combo punish. It's not like a real good, strong advice, you know? It's very hard to work with this because this could be told to like a new player, for example, and a new player would think this is good. So this is another thing of like, just because you ask for advice for everybody, like maybe if you word your advice more clear, you'll get an understanding of like what it means, right? But this is a prime example of like giving out bad advice. Even when you have good intent and good intentions, you can still give out bad advice. Just because you play fighting games doesn't mean you're good at like giving out advice. Some people don't even know why they win. You know that's a fact, right? Fighting games nowadays, bro, you can just win and like you may not have an idea of like why you're winning. It's very hard to just like be able to like talk about what you say. There's a tier of players that, in my opinion, that exist, and I feel like those highest tier players actually know how to do really good coaching. Really good coaching. We're gonna rank those from like teachers to like the professors. What happens between that is now you have to pick a professor that fits your criteria. Not every professor is gonna fit what you are looking for. So this is a prime example, right, of bad advice. So somebody tells you you get 5P, Rekka 1. 5P Rekka 1 stun dipper. Right? Clearly doesn't work. The problem is with that advice is that if the Ram player only knows that you can do jab, why would this jab stop you from doing Rekka 2? What is the return of them getting punished from a jab? Like, what is this gonna happen? You know, like, there's nothing bad happening. The reward off Rekka 1 is high though. So as a Kai player, you know that I should have just used jab. Like that. You don't counter hit regardless. This doesn't work. So imagine a new player not knowing better now thinks that the way you fight round is to do this. Because then they got taught a bad skill and they made it into a habit. And now they have to now unlearn this habit and break into another habit. Can you do more if you IB Rekka 1? I mean, sure. But the thing is, if the Ram player is just average, they would never do a Rekka 1 so close where you could do that, right? And you're still getting countered, right? even if you're close enough and she just does Rekka 1, you're basically making the guess that she's gonna do Rekka 2. You're not necessarily like punishing, right? So like regardless, it's like this right here is still not a solid answer. It's a call out. There's no visual cue where the second Rekka is coming out where you can react to it. So it's still not a great way of like actually giving somebody advice saying like, hey, you should do this. Like for example, like I'm sure my advice that I have for LeBron James, how to make the Lakers win, clearly I'm not gonna make the Lakers win with my advice. Clearly the basic knowledge outside of like, unless they clearly just don't know, like, so for example, somebody will ask a question like, how minus, like, how I asked the question, I said, yo, how minus is this, right? You know, that's me asking a question, right? So I expect people who know to tell me the answer, right? And because of that, I'm like, oh, that's -5. Okay, let me go and look at, like, what I can do in -5. This character's like, oh, clearly I can't do much because for some weird reason, pushback on hit goes all the way to, like, Texas. So we're like, oh, okay, well, we just gotta figure out how we're gonna utilize this little punish that we get, right? But when you look at the reward that Ram gets, you realize that, like, it's not worth even, like, challenging that all the time. You don't even try to go for a punish. You actually just try to go for a move that's just gonna preemptively stop another butter, which that isn't a guaranteed punish. You're just committing to, like, them not doing Rekka 2. So my thing is like, you know, like, RPS has always been in, like, all fighting games and stuff like that, but, you know, advice in this game makes, like, again, like, we're not talking about, like, the little variables of things that can be changed. People just think that fighting games is just gray, or black and white, excuse me. And that's not how that is. If you see an opponent just sitting there down backing for their lifestyle, it's clearly that they're not trying to take massive damage, and they don't have an idea of, like, what the opponent is trying to, like, do. So for you to, like, analyze the situation, you don't do anything. I feel like the best person you can ask for advice is yourself after you watch back your own replay. Yes or no? Yes, you should watch back your own replay. No, you're not going to see every situation that you understand because you haven't had the experience to know everything. I can give you a replay right now, Sonic, and be like, what can you get out of this video? And I'm sure you'll miss so many points. My thing is that I don't understand is, like, you know, people say, like, fighting games is hard, but then when they make it quote-unquote easier, people jump into, like, when the game actually gets harder to play, or whatever goals that you have in mind in fighting games. I think the pick up part and have fun is the good aspect of what they've been doing, but it actually made it harder overall. So it makes advice even harder. You know, when people were starting to give advice, people used to just wake up in the morning and be like, yo, if you just 6P it, you'll be okay.